I'm Mary, the mentor in residence for the program, and I first met this Next founder and bonded with him over two things: gelato and the inefficiencies in sales teams in retail environments, which are more alike than you may think. I happen to own a small chain of gelato shops in Michigan, and despite the fact that it's cold and snowy more months out of the year in Michigan, that is not one of the main factors that drive sales and impact sales. Actually, there are a few other things. One, whether or not we have the pumpkin spice latte gelato flavor in stock. Two, whether or not University of Michigan football team won the game on Saturday. And three, how effective the sales associate is in talking to other human beings. And so I was really excited to meet Greg of Percolata because he is solving this problem. And Greg is incredibly smart. He went to Caltech and Berkeley and has worked in product and marketing and engineering and worked in corporate venture. He's done a lot of stuff. And he has chosen to spend his time solving a problem that I've experienced and am excited to use the solution for, which is Percolata. So without further ado, Greg Tanaka, the CEO of Percolata.
Well, good morning. I'm here to talk about one of the biggest misallocation of resources here in the United States. So 1 out of every 4 Americans works in retail. It's the largest sector of employment in the United States. Yet, according to a recent University of North Carolina study, almost 90% of the time, the retail is either overstaffed or understaffed. Percolata solves this problem. We optimize the retail sales team. My name is Greg Tanaka. I'm founder and CEO. Now, the retail market is massive. Worldwide, it's $25 trillion. Yet, despite hundreds of billions of dollars that have been spent to get consumers to buy online, 92% of their transactions still happen in the physical store. In fact, a lot of online pure-play retailers have opened physical stores. This is like Bonobos, Amazon, and many others. And the reason why is because it's about the customer experience in the store. And the customer experience in the store is shaped by who's on the sales floor. What you want to do is you want to match the salespeople to the shoppers coming in. Now, this is hard to do for really 3 reasons. The first reason is you have to know who's coming into the store. You have to know the profile of the traffic and what kind of shoppers there are. The second thing is that the way most retailers get the availability of the employee is through the job application. So the prospective applicant will put down on their job application when they're available, and they're expected to stick with it for the duration of their tenure. But just imagine this is what Uber did when you first signed up as a driver, and you had to give your availability and stick with it. How many Uber drivers do you think there might be? Probably not too many. And the third reason has to do with the fact that in retail, there's 2 types of work. There's task-based work, let's say like restocking a shelf, and then there's sales-based work. For task-based work, there's not too much difference between the average person and the top. But for sales, there's orders of magnitude. Percolata solves these 3 problems. We optimize retail sales teams. Now, to illustrate what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you an actual case study. This is real data. It's from a high-end men's shoe retail chain. In fact, I'm wearing those shoes right now. And what you see on the y-axis is a metric we call shopper yield, dollars divided by number of shoppers that come in. On the x-axis, it shows time. And what you notice is there's great variations between different days in terms of their shopper yield. Some days it's really high, some days it's really low. And this isn't because of the weather, the merchandising, the marketing, or even phases of the moon. It's all due to who is on the sales floor. Who's on the sales floor determines the productivity of the store. So what we did for this chain is we basically deployed our sensors. It taps whatever power that happens to be in the ceiling, and it uses 3 different sensing modalities to essentially figure out the profile of traffic coming in. It uses computer vision, it uses technology called mobile fingerprinting, and then audio analytics. And by doing that, we know what kind of shoppers are actually on the sales floor at any given time. The second step is that we have an app for the associate where they can give their availability anytime, anywhere, Uber style. What this does, this actually increases the availability of the workers for the store and allows us to shuffle them more effectively. The third step is we take this data and we feed it into our cloud-based forecaster. What we do is we look at the marketing calendar, we look at weather forecast, even last year's point of sales data, to forecast what is the profile of traffic going to look like over the next scheduling period. And then rather than just staffing random people against this forecasted sales load, we staff the right mix of people in the right number that will maximize sales. Now, for the store manager, all this machine learning, all this big data is really hidden behind just 2 button clicks. The first button click is the generate button. You press generate, and it automatically generates the ideal schedule that will maximize sales. The second button is just to publish it to the employee's smartphone. Now, I showed you this graph before, but let me show you what happens after you implement the technology. So what you notice is that you get higher peaks of shopper yield and more frequent peaks of shopper yield. Not only did this retailer save 11.5 hours of time per month scheduling, but they got a 20% boost in revenue. Contrast this to the average increase for a physical retailer, which is only about 1.2% per year. They got a 20% boost in revenue using the same exact people, using the same exact labor budget. All we did was just shuffle when people were working. As a result, we have overwhelming demand for our service. To date, we have over 18.4 million hours that under contract that we schedule. And this is from some top-tier retailers, leaders in apparel, beauty, fashion, electronics, sporting goods. These are household brands. Now, how did we do all of this? We did it with a kick-ass technical team that hails from Caltech, Berkeley, Stanford, or companies like Google or Tencent. And we combine it with people who have deep retail knowledge, people who have been CIO or VP IT at places like Williams-Sonoma, J.Crew, Toys R Us. And it's all backed by some top-tier investors like Google Ventures, Andreessen Horowitz, Menlo Ventures, and many others. My name is Greg Tanaka. I'm founder and CEO of Percolata, and Percolata optimizes retail sales teams. I look forward to talking to all of you afterwards. Thank you.